Who am I? The sun and moon are my satellites. The stars are my sparks. I laugh in lightning. I roar in thunderclaps. I smile in rainbows. I dance in earthquakes and volcanoes. I sleep in the depths of the ocean. My wrath expresses in turbulent waves. I wink in day and night and meditate in cosmic deluge. I sport in creation. I sing in rivers and streams. I weep in grieving souls. I rejoice in enlightened hearts. I am indeed the indweller of all, the light of lights. Aham Brahmasmi. I am the Absolute Self. Om Nilambuja Shyamal Komalangam Sita Samaropitvam Bhagam Panau Maha Sayak Charu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Shri Ramayana, Ramcharitmanas, by Swami Tulsidas, Ayodhya Kanda, and verse number we are dealing with 142. Presently in the storyline, Rama, Lakshmana and Sita, they have found their residence in Paranakuti in the forest, and Sumantra has to return to Ayodhya. Sumantra is the minister who brought Rama, Lakshmana, Sita in his chariot. But now is the time for him to return. But in the storyline, the one who brought Rama, Lakshmana and Sita was Nishad. Sumantra stayed back by the river. And now Nishad, Guha Nishad, he is returning and he sees the minister is still there, and his chariot was there and his horses are all there. And the condition of this minister, that means the Sumantra and the horses, all are experiencing separation from Rama. Let me give you a philosophical insight. Firstly, Sita, Rama and Lakshmana. Rama is jnana, wisdom at its climax, but wisdom in the making. In a storyline, all is not perfect at this stage. Lakshmana is jnana movement. Sita is viveka buddhi, intuitive movement, purity of intellect. Purity of intellect has very profound relationship between jnana and dhyana. Purity of intellect is wedded to jnana. Viveka buddhi and jnana must be together. If jnana is without viveka buddhi, it's not perfect. In sadhana movement, they help each other. Their relationships are supplementary and complementary. Sometimes Viveka Buddhi gets injured. Then Lakshmana attends on Sita in a special way. Rama also attends and tells some stories. And similarly, sometimes Rama is as if feeling downward, feeling dejected. Lakshmana gives and Sita, they tell all these stories of Ayodhya and remind Rama. In other words, all the three help each other. And that's the moral behind it. If you are practicing with meditation, your goal is not to gain psychic powers. Your goal is to allow intuitive intellect to develop. And soul's essential nature, which is Rama, the Rama to shine. Keeping that in view, here the subtle point is being brought out before you. If there is spiritual sensitivity, what is the state of mind? Spiritual sensitivity for attaining God realization. If that hunger and thirst enters your heart, you will not be satisfied, you will not live in a cozy state. And that's being demonstrated through Sumantra, how he is missing Rama. If you have a glimpse of Rama's glory, then you develop Sumantra type of experiencing pang of separation. Simple point is that people live their life without turning the mind towards God, but There comes a time, mind becomes so overpowered by the glimpse of Rama that it cannot stay relaxed. Rather, there is increasing spiritual hunger. Two stages when you have dyspepsia with state. Another is the hunger state. Masses have dyspepsia. God is far. But when you develop that hunger, what is that state? When Nishada comes and Sumantra is waiting, he was supposed to have returned, but he didn't. He's waiting and he sees Nishada coming alone. But now he is extremely frustrated. Rama Rama siya lakhan pukari, pare udhara nital vyakul bhari. Seeing Nishada coming alone without Rama, Lakshmana, Sita, Sumantra cried out, Haram, Haram, Ha Sita, Ha Lakshmana, and fell down on the earth. And horses from the chariot, they all began to turn towards south. That's the direction where Rama had gone to. And looking at Nishada coming alone, they all began to neigh, we all began to express their agitation. In a storyline, everything is possible. But in an allegorical setting. Allegorical setting, normally you are satisfied with the senses. Senses are your horses. And Sumantra is the mind. Mind and horses, mind and senses. They experience soul's Godward thirst. Mind begins to experience what does it seem. Mind does not find delight in the objects of the world. Vishaya ras, greatly enjoyed by the senses. Senses are the horses. And now, the same Vishaya objects are there, but the horses are looking for Rama. Your senses have all these objects to experience, but senses are as if thirsty. Nothing really pleases them. You look at various wonderful things, but they don't. You're looking for 20/20 vision. That vision that can reveal God, Rama, as if you are missing Rama. So the senses are missing. Mind is missing. And that is the characteristic of spiritual progress. And that brought into the storyline. नहीं तृण चरहि न पियहि जलु, माँ चहि लोचन बारी, व्याकुल भय निषाद सब, रघुबर बाज निहारी. These horses, they do not eat grass. They don't drink water. Their eyes shed tears. Nishad saw the horses of the chariot of Rama in this state. He was grief-stricken. Now the moral behind it, as you develop Godward movement, follow that mantra, ahara shuddhavu sattva shuddhi. Every type of intake will not be enjoyed by you. That's what the grass and water for the horses. What the usual grass and usual water, now they don't want. What they are looking for, Shuddha Ahar. And Ahar refers to food, but food doesn't mean just physical food, which is important, of course, but what you receive for your mind, for your intellect, that which nourishes you in such a way that you develop integration in your personality, that type of food. Ahara shuddhav sattva shuddhi. Sattva shuddhav dhruva smriti. If food is pure, your mind will become gradually purified, nirmal. Sattva shuddhi. Not only by mind, I am referring to the entire mind, chitta. Sattva shuddhav dhruva smriti. As mind gets purified, your recall, there comes intuitive recall that you are soul, not the body. And as such, your goal is becoming liberated. Otherwise, you are caught with, you are a jiva, and you are looking for happiness in the world of objects. And as a jiva, you remember, you recall your early days, and if you have a little more psychic power, you recall your previous births. Recalling, that goes on always in every mind. Recalling is healthy, but to be stuck to your recalling, not to let yourself evolve, just to stay with just recalling things, what happened in the past. Many develop that type of habit. Each time they talk about their spiritual experience, they bring in a lot of pictures of the previous time and go on explaining what I experienced at this stage, what I experienced at that stage. Look how cozy I was as a baby. Even in the name of spirituality, you are trapped with recalling so many experiences you have. Collecting the data of your experiences that can be positive if that helps you to be advancing, integrated. But if you are just focused on bringing the data, then you are stopping your spiritual progress. So, with the spiritual movement, your recall, you do not just stay with recalling things from the past. You learn lessons from the past and move on. And your recall becomes much more intuitive as you meditate, as your mind relaxes. You begin to develop a keen interest in not to be born again. And your mind views all the misery that is associated with every birth. This type of recall. And then another recall, that in reality your whole personality is sustained by the same hand that sustains this entire universe. It is always you are in a divine temple. Every part of your body is operating in a divine way. Only your ego, blended intellect, malin buddhi, doesn't recognize this. Now that changes as you begin to follow the path in a right way. All this is progressive. Nothing happens all on a sudden, but little by little. धरि धीरज तब कहई निषादु, अब सुमंत्र परिहरऊ विषादु. Nishad, seeing Sumantra, was stirred up in a negative way. But he controlled himself and adopting dhiraj, patience. That's what happens when a mind is being blown away either in a positive way or in a negative way. What you need is dhiraj, dhairya. But dhiraj term itself has to be understood. Dhi relates to buddhi, buddhi that has been pursuing the path of dharma. Dhriti kshama damasteyam shaucham indriya nigraha. Among the characteristics of dharma, the one word is dhriti. And that dhriti means at intellect level, you have developed a firm conviction that your goal is liberation. And furthermore, in reality, you are Satchidananda, you are Brahman. Rama is your goal. That firm conviction, consider that conviction as a personality. And Raj, that personality is dust from the lotus feet of that Dhi, that Dhi Raj. Dhiraj. Patience itself can be sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Rajasic, tamasic patience. You are trying to revenge on someone. It requires patience. That's not dhiraj. But when you develop patience in your spiritual sadhana, then that is dhiraj. You are now getting the charan raj, dust particle of the Devi Dhriti. In other words, sattvic patience in itself is a part of a dynamic sadhana. It's an austerity that's very profound. That's what implied in saying wait and watch. So Nishada, exercising his dhiraj, said to Sumantra, "O Sumantra, give up this grief. You are a Pandit and you are knower of Paramarth. Paramarth is the highest goal. Knowing that Vidhata or Brahma is against, adopt dhiraj, dhairya. Knowing that Brahma is against, this point, it comes again and again in the Ramayana, that people are consoled by saying that somehow due to your karmas, Brahma will not allow you to have fulfillment. But the reality is, Brahma here relates to that aspect of God who secures your experience of pleasure and pain in the world of time and space. This is the world of Brahma, the creator. As long as you have pravritti, you are dependent upon Brahma. And Brahma's rule is profound. But when your mind is turning to liberation, that Brahma is now no longer welcome. So Brahma-based conveniences will not be there for you, as if Brahma has become angry with you. Brahma-based luxuries will not be desirable for you. Your movement will be led by Vairagya, Viveka. Your goal is nowhere in the world of Brahma. So that's the point. विविध कथा कही कही मृदुबानी रस बैठा रेउ बरबस आनी. Nishada, with great patience and great tender heart, he persuaded Sumantra and brought him on the chariot, Barbas. Someone is falling down due to weakness, and somebody else lifts the person up. And person goes on still shaking and puts the person on the right place. So that's called, this is the description here. Shoka Sitil Raghu Rathu Sakai Nahaki Ragubara Vira Pira Urabik Maki. But Sumantra is so affected by grief, is unable to drive the chariot. And his heart is experiencing pang of separation from Rama. It is that type of experience is very serious. But you must realize all this description is profoundly positive. When a person has developed vivek, discriminative intellect, and vairagya, dispassion, and spiritual sensitivity develops in his heart, and he becomes now constantly aware that he is separated from God. Anytime you do not do your prayer or japa, you feel missing, even though you have rasgullas to eat. Wonderful people to deal with. But still you go on missing. Char pharahi mag chalahi na gore, ban mriga manahu ani rath jore. And even the horses, they are suffering from separation from Rama. And they are bouncing up and down in a strange way, tarfadakar, not following the path in a right way. As if wild animals have been yoked to the chariot. What was considered tame and well graceful animals, senses which were considered very normal and source of joy. Now the very same senses operate in a different, as if they have become wild. In other words, sense perceptions, or put it in another way, vishaya ras, taste of worldly pleasure, that the senses are not interested in. अढ़की पढ़ही फिर रही पीछे, राम वियोगी भी कलश दुख तीछे. And they move in such a way that they stumble upon some little rocks. They fall down, then they get up. And they do it in order to look back. The description of vira, how to bring vira in your personality. Little of adversities come, you seem to fall, but no matter what happens, you are always looking for Godward movement. How to have more satsanga, how to have more success in your devotion, how to be more integrated. All that begin to dominate your inner aspiration. जो कह राम लखन बैदेही, ही करी तहे रही तेही. All that one has to do, say Ram, Lakshman. Immediately the horses will neigh. Hikar. And their eyes expressing profound love Look at those people who say Ram, Lakshman, Sita. You can't take it literally. It was not a literal description of animals. But the purpose behind it, to apply the animals in you. How your senses can be involved in bringing or kindling devotion, aspiration for devotion in your heart. Same senses, same horses. Wherever there is a little touch of divine glory, that means a bird is singing, but in that song there is a little touch of Rama, little touch of Sita, little touch of Lakshmana. The world around you is bringing out glimpses of Rama, Lakshmana, Sita. And your senses become inspired whenever that experience comes. And of course, mind, which is Sumantra, mind has the same vira, but vira in a more profounder way. जो बाजी विरह गति के कही कमी जाती बिनु मनी फनिक पिकल जही भांति. How can we describe the pain of separation that horses are experiencing? Their experience is just like a snake that has lost the diamond. This old style simile, there is a type of snake that holds a jewel, funny money, not funny. When separated from that jewel, the snake is extremely agitated until the jewel comes back. You are separated from God, and you must develop that type of aspiration. Described like agitation, but don't take it literally. This type of agitation is a source of profound inspiration. It's not not type of agitation that debilitates you, but inspires you. भयउ निषाद विषाद बस देखत सचिव तुरंग बोली सुसेवक चारि तब दिए सारथी संग. Guha Nishad, this Rama's friend, was extremely touched by Sumantra's condition, and knowing that he needs assistance, he gave 4 of his attendants to serve Sumantra. The subtle meaning behind it, 4 assistants, is a 4-aspected mind. Shishta Chatushtaya. Good intellect, good mind, ego that is ready to be humbled, and Maha, and Chitta, good Chitta that collects profound good impressions. In other words, the attendants that assist Sumantra are enriching Sumantra's mind, Sumantra's Antahakarana, the fourfold mind. These four attendants who help Sumantra to return to Ayodhya. They are in the chariot and they are supporting the chariot movement, helping Sumantra, because Sumantra every now and then gets struck with grief. And these four attendants, they go on helping. But they themselves, looking at the condition of Sumantra and his horses, there are times they themselves become as if drowned in sorrow. सोच सुमंत्र बिकल दुख दीना दिग जीवन रघुबीर बीना रही न अंतहु अधम शरीरु जसु न लहु पिछुरत रघुबीरु. Sumantra, who is afflicted with the pain of separation and feeling grief-stricken without Rama, he thinking within himself, without Rama, it is shame to live on. This is kind of a moral of this story. If you live on without having the goal of realizing the self, Rama is the truth, the reality, Brahman, the absolute. And that's the goal of life. Living on without the goal in view, without fulfilling the purpose of your life, shame on you. Sumantra is thinking within himself. The moment he was separated from Rama, why didn't he just give up his life? It's an allegorical way of saying, if your goal is to be separated from God, your life is actually perpetual death. Because your life is invaded by the fear of immortality. Bhai ajas ag bhajan prana kavan hetu nahi karas payana. My prana, the life force, has lost its dignity and has become collector of sinful karmas. All this is allegorical statement applying to every aspirant. If you are separated from devotional movement, you have all types of sadhana you do, but there is no devotion to God. Then your life force that leads you to do so much self-effort, your life force is not giving you right type of self-effort. It's creating negative karmas for you. And therefore your life, instead of being this basis of soul's glory. You live your life in a profound way, then the glory of your soul and glory of God expresses through you. But if you don't live, that glory is not there. The prana in you is not bringing out the glory of God and becoming a source of sinful karmas. And Sumantra says, better my pranas depart. That type of prana I don't want to live with. Ahamanda manu avasara chuka ajahune hridaya hota dui tuka. You mind, shame on you. You missed the opportunity of staying with Ram. Why didn't your heart break into two pieces? Miji haath sir dhuni pachitai, manahu kripanda dhan rasi gamai. Putting both hands, rubbing them to with each other. Haath malmal. Act of frustration. And slapping the head. All the allegorical picture, that's the way he's showing his grief. As if a miserly person who gained lots of money, but so miserly he didn't use any until all the money was suddenly, he was robbed of everything he had. That's the description of worldly attainment. Worldly attainment, your progress, attaining lot of money and lot of success. But what you are missing? The treasure of all treasures. Brahman. You are Aham Brahmasmi, realizing I am Brahman on one side, and finding fulfillment in a world where you are embodied and you are supported by external possessions. No matter how rich, how powerful, how popular you are, you have missed the real treasure. Because all that you have is going to be grabbed by death. So don't be a miser. Message is, day by day, allow virtuous qualities to develop in your personality. Utilize your inner spiritual resources. Don't keep them locked up until the robbers kama, krodha and lobha rob you of all the treasure you have. बिरज बांधि बर बीरु कहाई, चले समरजन सुभट पराई. And shame on me, Sumantra is still talking to himself. I am like a great warrior hero who has put on all the bold garb of warriors But having well prepared, the warrior is running away from the battle. God gave you body, mind, all the resources of the warrior. But you spent your warrior stage in being a warrior. Instead of fighting the battle, you are running away from the battle. Jimi kulina tiya sadhu sayani, pati devata karma manabani, rahay karma basa parihari nahu, sachiva hridaya tibi darun dahu. What's going on in the heart of minister? Darun dahu. There's a burning sensation that's terrible. And the example, just as a very cultured woman and very chaste, devoted to her husband, is separated from her husband due to some negative circumstances. And during that time, she suffers from the separation. That's the condition of the minister, as he's been separated from a loved one. Lochan sajal dheethi bhai thori, sunai na shaman bikalamati bhori. Eyes are filled with tears. The eyesight has become misty. He is unable to hear. Lips are dried up and mouth is devoid of saliva. In spite of all this, how is it my prana doesn't depart? Because there is a gate closed against prana's departure. And that gate is Rama's being in the forest for 14 years. This condition, the Rama will stay for 14 years, is as if the gate that closes. In other words, because of Rama will come in 14 years, Sumantra has to wait to meet Rama. Otherwise, he would have departed, his soul, pranas would have departed. The pranas don't depart because the gate is closed. And that gate is condition of Rama to live in the forest for 14 years. And with this I conclude. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukum Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Ramaya Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Tat.